Welcome back. In this video we are going to continue to model our low poly asset, being this piano here. And so previously we created just the feet and then started to make kind of the back portion here. So what I'm going to do now is I want to as you can see, we want this to be a little bit more kind of beveled in and almost like it's being squeezed in the middle here. And that's going to be that stylized asset look that we're going for. I also want to kind of exaggerate the top here. So what I want to do, first will be to add in, I'm going to go ahead and add in some subdivision here. So to do that, I'm going to use my loop cut tool. Otherwise, you can use Alt-C. Let's see, that's not, accidentally loop cut the wrong thing. There it goes. Okay, so we do have an error with our loop cut tool. It is probably due to something that I did. Probably just now even. So what we were going to do here is I want to hit my 1 key, and that's going to allow me to get into vertex mode. We'll hit Control A for select all. I also make sure all my vertices, so I right click in the gray area here. I'm going to go to merge vertices and just go to by distance. It looks like I had a couple of vertices that were preventing me from looping, so now it looks good. So now when I hit the Alt-C, I can now use my loop cut tool. I'm just going to click right in the middle here and change that number of cuts. That menu pops up in the bottom left here from 1 to 2, and that should be pretty good. So now I'm going to hit my Q key to drop that tool, and with my 3 key I can then select this part here. Actually, I'm going to hit my 2 because I have my edge selection, and I want to go ahead and scale this down just a hair, like so. And I want to scale this one down just a hair as well, not much. And then I actually want to go my face selection up top. I want to scale this up a little bit more. So it's going to give me a kind of bowed, exaggerated look that we're going for. And now as you'll see here, we have a little bit of an issue. So I'm going to actually disable my real-time modifier. So if you see look at your modifiers, you'll see that there is a list of different icons. So this icon I want to disable is the third one over, and it says real-time. So I click that, then it will no longer show. It is still there, but it won't actually show in real time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select the 2 key to select all my edges. And I'm just going to go to my top view in this case. And I'm going to go to my scale tool, which is R. And I want to scale it down. And now remember, I'm going to scale it just a little bit. And I want to hit 0 on the X in this case. You'll notice the one that I want to be zeroed out is the one that's not a 1. So hit 0 there. And now that's all in the middle. And if I were to go ahead and move this, I can turn on my snaps. I just want to snap this right to the middle again, and then I'm going to turn on my real-time scale. Okay, so now that has been done. Let's go ahead and consider where we want to put our next cut. So if I were to pull up this here, you'll see we do need a cut right along the top here, so that way we can bevel it back. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to put a cut there. So this will be pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is just simply go to my Control or Alt-C, and then I'm just going to click and drag up towards the top. Right about there looks good. Okay, so now that is done. Now later on when I come in to bevel this, I have that all mapped out. And actually I might want to let me try it one more time. Let's see, let me undo that. I'm going to make this somewhat square right in this area here. I want this to be kind of a squared there. That looks pretty good. So one other thing I noticed is if I'm looking at my reference, which in this case the reference is a real-time model, you'll notice this flat on the back. So what I'm going to do here, it's actually pretty flat in the front as well, but I still do want this kind of bowed look on the sides. So what I can do here is I'm going to go ahead and select all these faces here, And I'm just going to flatten them out with my scale. So it's R key. And then I'm just going to scale them. And then in this case, you'll see the one number that's a little bit off is my Y. So I'm going to then click that. And we'll do the same for the back here. I'm just going to grab holding shift. We'll click all these back here and scale them on my Y axis again. And change it to 0. So now the back is pretty flat. One last thing is I kind of would like for these to be fairly straight, at least the bottom portion. So just on the back at least. So I'm going to go ahead and snap to vertex and just snap that to the vertex here. I think I'm okay with the rest of it, how it looks. Well, maybe I'll go ahead and snap everything to this same vertex. Just keep it consistent. That looks pretty good there. Okay. So next thing I want to do here is I would like to go to my, I want to start to make this, so I'm going to start to make my piece right here, as you can see right along there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, or extrude actually from my, oops, I'm going to put that away. I'm going to extrude that from my model. So in this case, I want to select this, use my 4 key, and this actually might be easier if I were to real quickly apply the modifier. So I'm going to go my object mode, which is the 4 key. Otherwise, you can go up here and select object mode. And then you're going to go drop down apply. But I want to now do, now that I apply that, I can actually manipulate the opposite side of my mirror. But I want to go ahead and extrude this up. So Control E, otherwise your extrude regions over here. I want to just push this up a little bit. And I think that's pretty good. And then I actually want to double click on this edge right here, any one of those edges that are vertical. And I want to now extrude these out. So actually, if I were to go and hover over my extrude region, if you click and hold, you can then extrude over. You have different ways of extruding things. And I want to go to extrude along normal. And now it's going to allow me to extrude out. Now I do want this to be even. So what I'm going to have to do here, and actually as you see right here, this part goes way too far. So what I'm going to need to do is, you know, in the process of moving these things around, stretching in this cube all around, I have manipulated the kind of original shape and scale, which keep in mind this is coming from a cube. So what I want to do is I want to go to my object mode. I want to select my object and go to object, apply, scale. So what this is going to allow me to do now is going to allow me to, when I scale it out, it'll be fairly uniformed. It won't be perfect, but it'll be pretty close. So I just want to scale this out a little bit to give me that edge, that lip. And then what I want to do is I want to just go ahead and select, in this case I can probably select that middle one. And I want to just line it up. And then I might select these two edges here and just line them up as well. Now I'll do the same thing on the back side, select the outside edges, line it up to this corner. And I'm going to take the middle one and line it up as well as that same corner. Oops, let's see. Not sure why I'm getting, there you go. So now this looks fairly even. And now what I can do is I can come in and select all this. And we'll hit Control and Backspace. And what that is, it's a clean, it dissolves my selection. So by dissolving it, it's going to remove the vertices there as well. Okay, so now we do have one more edge to work on there. So we already got this edge drawn or modeled in. So now we need to do one more right along here. This one's just the same process, but it's a little larger. So what I'm going to do now is repeat this process. So again, select this top piece. So if you want to select, you can hold shift and click, or you can also click the first one, hold shift and control, and then select where you want to go to. It's going to find the shortest path. So that's pretty predictable, although sometimes it will give you an unpredictable result. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and hit my Control E, and I actually want to go Extrude Region. And I just want to go on the blue axis. This one has to be a little bit taller. As you can see in my reference, it is a little taller. And then we'll hit my 3 key to select my faces. And now I want to extrude this but by along normals. And let's see. Maybe quite not like that. Let's go a little bit larger. That looks a little better. And again, same process. I'm going to grab these edges here and I'm going to line them up. And I'm just use my snap to vertex enabled. And I'm just going to be able to line these up to that side vertex here. And now that looks fairly good. And the same thing, I'm going to select all these edges, control backspace to dissolve edges. Otherwise, you can also right click and you can go into, let's see. Let's see if there's another way to do this. Yeah, dissolve edges at the bottom. So again, that's just right click and then dissolve edges. Okay. So now the last thing that I see here, there's a few things I want to touch up on, but one of them is now this is no longer flat in the back, because remember we did want the back to be completely flat. So this is a fairly easy fix. I'm just going to go ahead and select all these polygons. I'm just holding my shift and then control. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all those. So it's hit delete, or my delete key, and then it's going to open this menu where I can then select what I want to delete. I want to delete faces. And then I want to just double click this box here, and I want to scale it so it's flat. So I'm going to change that scale to 0 there. And then I want to use my move key, which is W. I want to just snap it right to the back there. That looks pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and select this whole entire opening. And I'm just going to hit my space bar. I'm just going to go click and fill. And I'm going to fill face. It's going to give me all these crazy triangles, which I really don't like. So I'm going to go ahead and select all these edges. Let's see if I can get away with this at this time. I'm just going to hit Control Backspace to remove them. And I'm going to start to cut in the edges I want on my own terms. So I'm going to go to my knife tool. And I'm going to select this polygon, this side, and go all the way across. So that one's pretty good. I want to connect it down the middle. Perfect. And then we'll connect on either one of these sides like so. And so what I'm doing is I'm just left clicking. And then once I'm happy with the connection, I just right click and it tends to be pretty good. So now I'm gonna go from this corner, I'm gonna go down and then down to this right there. And that eliminates any of those n-gons. So I'm gonna do the same thing from here. By this time, I'm just go up to that corner. And now we should have no n-gons, but just to be sure, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this tool by hitting the Q key. That's going to turn off my knife tool. I'm gonna hit the 1 key to go to vertex mode and then Control A to select all. I'm just gonna right click, go to merge vertices by distance. And it looks like that was all clean. I had no removed vertices, so that's pretty good. So the last part here, if we are looking at my reference, I do want to push this in, back. So there's 2 ways I could do this. The easiest way would be to just simply select. Oops, let's say I could just one way, not so the easiest way. I could select all of these polygons back here that I've created. Maybe this is the way I go about it. And I could potentially push this forward and then deselect any of the polygons I want to keep, and then I'm just going to extrude the rest back. And that might be a good way to go about it, but then also make sure to remove this edge here. Don't have to remove all of it, just have to remove that one piece. Oops. And just Control Backspace to dissolve, and then of course you want to I'm going to remove this here because now we have a 5-edged polygon. So I'm just going to select the first one, hold Shift, select the second one, and right click and go to merge vertice at last. So therefore it'll say wherever my last selected vertice was, it will merge it to that one. And this looks like it's a pretty good method, I think. Of course, there are other methods. You could extrude in. that might give you a better result. So that's totally up to you how you want to do that. So what we have here though is now we have our low poly asset. If I'm looking at compared to here, it looks okay. I think at least it's a good start. Now what I might want to do is I'm looking at how this is kind of extruded on the top. So I might go through here and select perhaps this front face. Maybe I want to move out just a little bit. I want to turn off my snaps and just move that out a little bit. And I might select these side faces and scale them out just a hair. This will give me a nice silhouette that's kind of exaggerated without affecting the back. So that's another thing you need to keep in mind. If you do want to just simply grab all these top faces and just scale them like this, that's fine. You can do that too. But just make sure that you come back in here, select all these back faces and snap them to the back, because you want to make sure that back is nice and a hard edge like we had intended to be. Okay, so now that will conclude this video. In the next video, we will continue to model our stylized game asset and starting to get this piano built up kind of around the keyboard area.